So Randy, we're gonna get to you, but I want to get to Queen real first. We just got a few more minutes, you guys. So let's try to keep the questions or comments to about a minute or so, because we got about 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna give our high value Hebrew an opportunity to close out the show and answer any other questions in the comments. So let's go to Queen Real. You got about a minute to give your comment or ask your question, and then we'll go to Randy. You're on mute, Queen Real. You gotta unmute yourself.
I'm not catching on with a lot of stuff y'all was talking about. I'm sorry because I'm just popping in and my internet keep kicking me out. So
Okay,
will
so
somebody catch me
basically,
up on something?
yeah. So basically, what we're talking about is the passport bros leaving the country to go look for what they're looking for in a woman. And I guess Reese's standpoint is kind of like, we should be here working it out and getting our families together. And the brothers are like, we tired, so we out. Pretty
Man,
much.
that's deep.
So yeah, you got any
I
questions or
mean,
you want to comment or you got any questions towards that?
yeah, I got agree with some of it, but I mean, you can't expect for a black man to hear someone that say they love a person and then break them down and sit through it. Understand, go through trauma, but they can either choose to deal with it or not deal with it. Really, they don't have to deal with it. They deal with it because they love that person, not the trauma. I mean, vice versa, but you can't expect someone to change their preference just because you don't like how they're living at me. I mean,
So you're in agreement with the passport bros packing it up? If that's what they
hold
see
on, I
fit.
didn't hear that one.
Are you are you in agreement with the passport bros packing it up and saying I'm out? I'm out of here.
I mean, I'm not gonna cap you. If
It's
I
like,
was
wait
a
a minute.
man dealing with that, I wouldn't even tell us nothing. I leave. If you don't see what I'm showing you now, why would I have to tell you when I leave and do what I want to do? But you see, when I leave, you see what I'd rather do. I'm just
All right.
saying.
So she said if she was a dude, she said deuces.
If I was one, I wouldn't even kick dust at her. I leave. If I'm telling you up front with my actions, I'm showing you your work to me. I'm just saying. And you're constantly breaking me and tearing me down. I choose to go do what I want. I'm just saying, if I was a man, I would choose to do what I want because I choose to not to hurt you. But you wouldn't understand that because you're selfish to not look at my needs. If so, I would not be doing what I want to do. You would be worried about what I want to do. You would worry about me. So most men get neglected a lot on that part. And some females think that some men don't deserve it, so they don't show that a lot. So they go elsewhere because that's where they feel needed the most at.
All
I
right.
mean,
Thank you, Queen
it is
Real.
what it is.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. Like I said, we got really ain't got no more minutes, but I got to get to Randy. So go ahead. The floor is yours. Thank you, Queen Real, for that. And of course, I'm gonna get you Reese, get you like a minute or so to say your final words. But let me get to Randy. The floor is yours.
Shalom. My question is really for Miss Roberts. Because me personally, I'm a female that was born and raised in Texas. My mom's American. My stepdad was a Nigerian, so I was raised by somebody that's from a different country. So I tend to operate a little bit more traditional, but I also went through all the traumas that most of us American Black females go through. I'm talking SA at an early age. I'm talking physical abuse, a father that wasn't in the home. I dealt with all that. And I was a very volatile human for quite a while. But for me, I found that it was important for me to go and get the mental help that I needed. So I sought therapy. I sought the help that I needed to calm myself down before I married my husband. Now, I am a monogamous woman that is married to a polygynous man. So my husband has more than one wife. But my question for Miss Roberts is, I know she leans a little bit more towards the extremes when she talks. So if you're so worried about these women that have been through so much finding a good man, why come your stance isn't to direct those women as to how to fix themselves, how to heal themselves, how to find better for themselves so that they can attract these men that they want before these men end up in different countries, marrying people from different countries, or joining a family if they choose to be in a polygynous family with a man that they or that you deem is a good man.
Well, I'm glad you asked because my concern isn't necessarily about the women having a man. My concern really is more so about a balanced conversation. And so the reason why I speak in the terms that I speak in, because, my goal when I was speaking earlier was to figure out, are we talking about extremes or not? Like I said, are we talking about generalizations or are we talking about specific circumstances? Because what I believe is that men and women have their fair share of healing and growth to do. So I don't think that there should be a blame factor here. And what I hear a lot of time in these gender war conversations is an unproductive blaming of this Black woman who didn't do this and didn't do that and could have done this without any conversation being directed towards the role of a man in a community when all of us have been subjected to the same involuntary traumas and conditioning that we've all been subject to. So I think it just is a tragedy to pin blame on a woman when taking no blame for yourself, if that's the blame game that you want to play. I think it's more productive for our community to say that if there is a problem, that we need to look at the true enemy. The brother and the sister are not enemies of each other. We are enemies to our oppressors. So when we have these conversations that say the sister is to blame. She should have known to not have a child before she was a certain age, or she should have known not to have a child or open her legs and all these other things. When this woman's legs were being pried open by somebody, and in a lot of situations, her home was being systemically torn down. And her man was being whisked away, or whatever the case. Like someone said in the comments, our men were on opioids when they came back. A Black woman had too much on her plate at that moment to deal with a man that came home from war on crack.
I can
So
that, but I believe that we were having today was surrounding the current environment of our nation. And currently, most of our men, I'm not going to say all, but most of our men are not addicted to drugs, especially when we're dealing in a high value man or a high value Hebrew man. They don't touch drugs. Most of them don't touch alcohol. Most of them value their body above everything else. So they're not putting any substances in there that should not be in there.
right, you're talking about a subculture of people, and I agree that, but there are subcultures everywhere.
Yes, but
We have groups of Black women who are just the same as that.
exactly. And those women tend to end up with those men.
Right, I agree. There's nothing wrong with that. But all I'm saying is that when we had, like I said, these conversations where the Black woman in a whole, I haven't heard brother Reed talking about the subcultures of women who are worthy. I mean, like I'll just have to speak for myself. Me being a woman who has gone through the phases of life, just being a human being, going from being a young, inexperienced teenager, having to go through the growing pains of life, having to learn womanhood, having to learn from my social cues, having to figure out who I am as a person. What is my passion? What is my value? What is my purpose in life? I mean, we all have to go through that. I didn't have any value before I figured all that stuff out. I
But
was a kid. So I mean,
he
Is it
separates
Rennie answer? What
subsection.
were you saying, Rennie?
He definitely separates the subsections of women. And you'll hear him when he speaks, he'll say, I'm not speaking about traditional women.
okay.
Or
I haven't heard that. I'm sorry. I haven't heard him say that.
several times today, I'm not speaking about traditional women. And that's him separating those who have the same values as our ancestors did, as our foremothers did, who carry themselves in a way that is reputable from those of us who are a little less a little less and who don't really value themselves as much as they should. But
That's everywhere. That's not just women.
no, no,
That's
that's
everybody.
and you'll hear him, he'll make a difference in men too. He'll say high value men versus Pookies and Ray Rays, or he'll say traditional women versus hyenas or modern women or whatever
Hmm.
he chooses to call them because he a little goofy. But I did hear you ask, or I heard you say that you haven't heard him speak about the role of a man in this society that he speaks of. So I'm a pause for a second, and I'm gonna ask him, Brother Reed, what is, in your opinion, what is the role of a man?
I think the role of a man is to, build him. To start off, a young man has to build himself up. Okay, he has to create his value. He has to be strong mentally, he has to be strong physically, emotionally, and going through the trials and tribulation of life. That's what gets him there. When he gets through trauma, the battle scars are attractive on a man. They're not necessarily attractive, not necessarily attractive on a woman. That's how we become something. You have to go through something, and as he gets into his in his formidable years, say 18 to when he starts getting into like his 30s, he starts to figure out who he is. He starts to figure out what career he's going to have. And I'm speaking in general terms. And then when he figures out, who he wants to be, he figures out, hey, I want to have a legacy. I want to, carry on my last name. He is to protect. He is to provide. He is to lead. He is to, being on the Hebrew side, he is to serve the Most High. He is supposed to do that. He's supposed to be that foundation, that rock in his family. When he decides to do that, that's what he should be doing. If he's not doing that, then he needs to keep working on himself until he's able to do that.
All right. So what we're gonna do is, I just want to, because I don't want to close it out like this. I really want to give, but you guys got to come on now. 30 seconds. I need y'all to wrap it up because we got to get to Robert's last point of view. So Reese, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to close up your final thought, and we'll go to Vinny, and then Queen Real, and then Rainey.
Okay, I appreciate it. So all I'm going to say is I think that again, our conversations need to be more inclusive of all of our subcultures. We have a lower class of men and women. We have a upper class of men and women. And I think that there's always a scale where the lower class is fighting to become more upper class so that we can improve ourselves and better ourselves. So our men getting to a point where they want to share our traumas or share their traumas with a sister, but then once they become built up, so to speak, or once they become successful, then they feel like, oh no, this black woman is not, she's too ghetto for me. I'm gonna get a passport. As soon as I get enough money to get a passport, I'm out of here. But all the time you're struggling and all the time you are a Pookie and Ray Ray, then we're okay. But when you're not a Pookie or a Ray Ray no more, now you got to leave us alone because we're too much for you. We're just too below your standards. You can't go and find one of us that's good enough. And I digress after that.
Okay, Rainey, your last 30 seconds, final words.
I mean, I've enjoyed this chat. I think it was very informative. But for me, I think, like I said, we can't deal in extremes. We do have to, like you said, there are different subcultures of people, period, not just men or women. But I mean, at the end of the day, we as women cannot expect men who are of a certain standard and hold themselves to a certain standard to be with any and everybody just because they're a black female. There's got to be a bigger standard than that.
All right, and Queen Real, your 30 seconds. Your final statements.
I'm just gonna say peace and blessings to everybody's decision, but I believe that you should work on your traumas before you get to the next person. That's a lot when another person is dealing with it. It takes a role as tearing you down a lot and seeing your mate suffer. That's a lot. I believe that you should fix yourself before you step into something different. That old bleeding do not heal open sore. Just what my belief is.
Thank you.
So peace and bless to everybody that go through anything in their life. They guide themselves in the right places.
Thank you, Queen Real. And last one, Vinny, give you your last 30 seconds.
Okay, yeah, and peace to you, sis. Thank you for having me up, voice my opinion. Peace to everybody on the panel. Brother Robert Reed, also Sister Reese. It was good to hear you guys again. Yeah, man, we just got a lot of work to do on ourselves, It's a never ending battle, man. I think that most of these guys and women, we look for what can put nub in all the wrong places. You know what I mean? We need to restructure our mindset, and it all starts with us and how we raise our kids, man. We got to raise our kids the way that we need it to be. You know, personally, I think that we need to get back to Bible, but you know, not everybody agrees with that. But I think that yeah, we definitely need a set of ordered regimen on how we should do things and how to keep order. But I think this is a great conversation. I think more of these need to happen, you know, just so we can iron a lot of this stuff out. And you guys have a blessed night.
Now, Vinny, before you go,
Uh-huh.
make sure you like and subscribe to the channel.
Oh, I already did, sis. Of course.
Yay! Hey,
Yay.
listen. I'm gonna mute you for 1 second. I want you to know that's why we have Let's Talk podcast, because what we figured was we have a lot of biblical Bible believing people, right? And then we have this secular world, right? So we got these two groups. We got the secular, we got our Bible believers, right? And we deal with our issues in two separate lanes. So the Bible people deal with it this way, and the secular people deal with it this way. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, we need to talk, because we're all dealing with that. We got baby mamas, baby daddies. We traveling outside the state. We dealing with health issues. Our parents are overweight. We overweight. Like, it's so many things we're dealing with, single parents, and we got Bible believers and secular people. So I just said, you know what? If we could have a platform where we can come together and let's talk about these issues, I believe that we'll be able to move forward. Our voice can be heard, and we can start making some changes. And like you said, it's all about the children. You know, hopefully the children can learn something from this. But Vinny, thank you again for coming. I appreciate you supporting the channel. I appreciate you subscribing, and I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
All right, Robert Reed.
Hey,
man, what a show! What a show!
What a show. I love the diversity of thought. I really do. I really do. I love it.
So what I want to know is, okay, so I'm not trying to harp back on it, but I feel like this was a real. I got to bring it up because it was contentious for a little bit, so I got to do it. So the point that Reese was making, do you understand the point that she was making?
Yeah, I do get the point. I don't agree with the point, but I get the point.
Okay, so I've heard a lot of people speak like that, say things like, why are you going to go out to another country? I've heard people say, you know, you got so many women here. Sometimes it's more women here than these countries that they go to. So I hear a lot of that. Not just that, you can hear the trauma in her voice, and you can hear the trauma in a lot of sister voices saying, look, this is what we've been through. And now you're trying to pack up and leave. And you're saying, because it's our fault. Just to give you another chance to just kind of dive into that, what would you like to say about that before we close the show tonight?
Right. Oh, well, I appreciate that. A lot of it, I think there's a lot of, and again, I just disagree with her point. There's nothing against her personally. I don't know her personally. I just disagree with her point. I think there's a lot of goalpost moving, because again, I try to be very, very clear in what I'm talking about, especially when I bring out, you know, facts and data and statistics and things like that. It's that's general. That's going to be general. And so every point that's made, when someone is like, well, introduce an extreme, or every point you made is that, oh, but that's everybody. Oh, but that's everything. Oh, but what about the men? And then they, you know, try to hide it under, you know, the balance and things like that. No. That right there, there's already an extreme imbalance. And what I mean by that, if we look at all the shows, you go back to the 90s all the way up until now, you had your Ricky Lakes, your Sally Jesse Raphael's, your Oprah Winfrey's, you had all these spaces where when you got the View Now, the Talk, Red Table, all this, you have all these platforms where the female voice was heard. We've heard about, you know, the Black woman's trauma forever, okay? And they've always had a voice as far as on these platforms. There's always been a voice. Only recently, over the last 10 years, where you really had a manosphere, where you hear the man's voice. And I think when men speak up and they talk about their trauma, I think it's very, very triggering. Because for the most part, women, okay, you know what? I don't want to say that. Men, when they talk about their trauma, a lot of the times they feel unheard. Okay, so that's why you have this manosphere. And as far as people thinking that, oh, well, guys are talking trash about women when they go abroad and all that, I don't think that is the case. When you look at the early videos of Passport Bros and things like that, it wasn't about trash talking. I'm not saying there was none. Okay, there was a little bit, but is a guy coming out of his trauma. But for the most part, it was just guys talking to other guys saying, hey, go grab your passport. You can get better results. You don't have to go get game. You don't have to be a part of the hookup culture. You can rebuild your family because you got destroyed, things like that. It was men talking to men. There are groups right now where they're guys talking to guys, just talking about, their experience and stuff like that. Not bashing women whatsoever. But I think a lot of things is triggering because of implication. And when I brought up bashing, sometimes I would like some people to define bashing. Because if I say, well, you know what? I get better results when I go overseas. Who did I bash? I didn't bash anyone. I just said I get better results when I go somewhere else. And that's where a lot of that comes from. And speaking of that, I'll land this plane with this. I've been in situations, I've been in relationship with traditional women, and I've been in a relationship with modern women. I can say, now I'm being very specific, I can say relationship with traditional women is 100% better. It is better for your peace. It's better for your health. It's better for you mentally and emotionally. I'm sorry about, all the trauma, but I like Brother Benny said, we don't want to come home and argue. I want to come home and be challenged on everything that I say. I want to relax. I just went out. I was just working. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to secure our future. I'm trying to take care of our retirement. I'm trying to do all these other things. I don't have time to come home and argue. I don't want to argue. So my point is, I've been in, especially before I became into the truth, the scriptures, been in relationship with modern, it's the same thing. Okay. They have their traumas. Okay. I get it. That's unfortunate. They have their traumas. They have all the pushback. They have all the arguing. They have all the, going back and forth. They have the manipulation and stuff. And again, differentiating modern versus traditional. Have all these issues, all these just issue on top of issue on top of issue. And then all the pushback. Then when I say you can get wrecked in America, all that on top of it. You can get divorced, lose past your stuff, child support, and all this. And then a lot of the modern women are still saying, well, stay, because some of this trauma is your fault. No, that's not necessarily true. Sometimes a guy is coming in, the woman's coming in, she already has trauma. So he's supposed to just stay and deal with that. I dealt with all that. When you go somewhere else and the woman, and I'm not saying no one in other countries have no trauma. They don't have the same trauma. It's just different. They're raised in a different way. And again, I'm not even bringing up race because I can keep it black.
I was gonna ask you that. Do you think it's a race thing or a culture thing? Because the videos I showed you was old, young, white, black. It was all different kinds. So do you think that this whole modern woman ideology, do you think it's a race thing or a culture thing?
I think it's a culture thing for sure, because as far as feminism and all that, all the races are into it. All the races are into the whole feminine thing and all that. And I think what's triggering is that I think they know deep down the implications. I really do. I really do. I think it's the implications, meaning that, hey, these guys have choices, and a lot of the modern women are going to get left behind. Okay. And then I saw a comment, you track your own energy. Okay, great. So when you go to another country and you get better results, okay. I said in another space, and I said on TikTok, I said, okay, a lot of times it's always moving the goalposts. It's always moving the goalposts, especially with modern women. Okay. Oh, it's you, or it's what you attract, or you're not this, or you're not that, or whatever. Okay, great. The ultimate litmus test is this. If a man is here in the West, or there in the West, I should say, and he's not getting good results, okay, and then he travels abroad and he gets the exact same results, it's him. That's on him. Because that's a different country, a different woman, a different culture, and you're still getting the same results, then it's you. But if you're getting bad, terrible results in the West, and then you go to another country and you get great results, then who is it? You see? So it may not be you. It's just that the problem is this. It's not America versus the world. It's not that. It is modern versus traditional. If a modern man is with a traditional woman, it is not going to work. If a traditional man is with a modern woman, it's not going to work. If traditional and traditional meet, it has the best chances of working, and the stats back that up, period.
All right, you heard he
It's just
said
that
period. He said period, y'all. So y'all know what that means, period. With that being said, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. I look forward to you coming back again. If you guys enjoy, y'all just hit my email up. Y'all was hitting the comment section up. Part two, part two, part two, part two. So you guys want him back, definitely let me know, which I'm planning on bringing him back anyway. Also, you guys can hit him up on High Value Hebrew on TikTok and on YouTube. So go check his channel out. If you enjoyed what you heard today, and you really did, bless his brother at Random Read on Cash App. Send him an offering, send him a blessing, because he didn't have to come here today and bless us with his time, his knowledge, his information. But he did, and we are grateful for that. So you guys go ahead and show him some love on Cash App at Random Read. And with that being said, Reed, you got any last words you wanna add until we see you, hopefully, Lord's will, next week?
Absolutely. I just want to say all praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I hope he bless each person that was listening on this stream for giving us their time and attention. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the dialogue in the Discord. And please, everybody, look, like, share, subscribe. This sister Christina is working hard. I talked to her behind the scenes. She works. She has like 8 arms. She's like an octopus. She's doing everything. She gets
Thank you. All
it
glory to
done.
God.
She put a lot of work in behind the scenes. I promise you. We talk behind the scenes, and she tries to get it done and try to deliver you guys some content. And she's really trying to be the ear and the voice for you guys. She'll ask the questions. She'll even ask you, say, "Hey, I'm going to ask these questions because it's out there." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine.
I gotta do it.
So she's working hard. She's working really hard. So please bless her. Subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and bless you and your household.
Thank you, guys. Let's talk till next time.